The night sky over Earth's desert outpost shimmered with a strange violet glow. The scientists had named it the Rift. No one knew what it really was, a tear in space, a gate, or a wound in the universe itself. But for Commander Ryan Hale, it was a reminder that the universe still had secrets humanity could not control. Ryan stood alone outside the research dome, staring at the flickering sky. The sand around him hummed softly as if alive. He'd seen things out there, lights moving against gravity, whispers that made no sound. But nothing could prepare him for what came next. A scream, sharp, high-pitched, almost mechanical, cut through the silence. Ryan's heart jumped. He grabbed his pulse rifle and ran toward the sound. The air shimmered, and then something fell from the rift, a body glowing faintly blue. When he reached it, he froze. It wasn't human. The being lying in the sand was tall and fragile-looking, skin shining like glass under moonlight. Her silver hair floated as if it had no weight. And her eyes, two galaxies trapped inside, opened weakly, locking onto Ryan. "Don't come closer," she whispered, voice trembling but strangely beautiful. "You don't understand." "They'll follow." Ryan knelt anyway. "You're hurt. I can help you." She shook her head, a faint light pulsing from her chest wound. "No human can help me. Your medicine kills my kind." Ryan hesitated. The wound looked deep, glowing with blue energy that flickered like a dying star. He pulled out his field kit, ignoring her protests. "Then tell me what doesn't kill you," he said firmly. Her lips curved into something between fear and amusement. "Courageous. Or foolish. You'll regret touching me." Ryan smiled slightly. "That's what most people say." He worked quickly, sealing the wound with a plasma patch. The glowing slowed and she gasped, clutching his arm. For a moment, Ryan felt a surge through his body, a strange warmth that wasn't his. The sand under them vibrated softly. "What was that?" he asked. "You shared life energy," she whispered, staring at him. "That's forbidden by galactic law." Ryan frowned. "Law? Whose law?" Before she could answer, a thunderous noise echoed from the sky. 3 glowing orbs tore through the clouds, descending fast. Her expression changed from pain to panic. "They've found me," she said, her voice trembling. "The hunters. You must hide." Ryan helped her stand, though she barely had strength to walk. "No, we both hide." She looked at him, really looked, and for a moment something ancient and sad passed through her eyes. "You shouldn't care. Humans never care for other species. Why do you?" Ryan met her gaze. "Because you screamed for help. That's all that matters," she blinked, as if confused by the simplicity of his answer. Then softly she said, "You're kind. Surprises me." They reached a cave near the ridge, just as the glowing ships began to sweep the desert with beams of white light. Inside, she collapsed against the rock, trembling. Her light dimmed. "Stay awake," Ryan said, touching her shoulder. She looked at him again, her eyes dimming like dying stars. "You don't even know my name." "Then tell me," she hesitated. "Lyra." "Okay, Lyra, you're going to live." "I promise." Lyra's hand caught his wrist, her grip weak but desperate. "You gave me your life energy. That connects us now. If they find me, they'll find you too." Ryan exhaled. "Then we run together." Lyra's lips trembled into a faint smile. "Human," she whispered. "You don't understand what that means. Our bond is more than life. If I die, part of you dies too." Before Ryan could answer, the cave lit up with blinding light. The hunters had found them. A voice echoed from outside, cold, metallic, inhuman. "Deliver the escaped unit or both life forms will be erased." Ryan grabbed his weapon. "Guess we're not surrendering." Lyra's eyes widened, glowing again. "No, you can't fight them. Their weapons bend matter itself." Ryan looked at her and grinned grimly. Then we bend back. Outside, the air cracked with thunder. The first blast hit the cave entrance, sending fire and dust everywhere. Ryan threw himself over Lyra, shielding her. The shockwave tore through the rocks, but they survived. When the smoke cleared, Lyra looked up at him, trembling. Why would you risk everything for me?" Ryan smiled faintly, his face bruised but calm. "Because no one deserves to die alone." Lyra's eyes softened. For a moment she forgot the war, the laws, the galaxies. In that dark cave with a human who defied reason, something inside her changed. She whispered almost to herself, "Maybe this is what love feels like." But before Ryan could respond, another explosion shook the ground, and Lyra's body began to glow uncontrollably. She gasped, clutching his chest. "Ryan, I'm giving you one chance, she whispered desperately, voice shaking. To make love to me, human, do it now. Or it will be too late. And then the world outside went silent just before everything turned white. The blinding white light faded slowly, leaving behind silence. Ryan's ears rang and his body felt weightless. He opened his eyes and froze. The cave was gone. The desert was gone. Everything was gone. He was floating in a glowing space filled with silver mist and drifting fragments of light, like stars breaking apart. In front of him, Lyra stood, her form half-transparent, her eyes brighter than before. Where are we? Ryan asked, his voice echoing strangely. Lyra turned toward him, her expression unreadable. Between worlds, she said softly. You touched my energy core when you saved me. Now our life forces are connected. When I lost control, my body reacted to protect you. Ryan frowned. Protect me? You nearly vaporized the planet. Her lips curved slightly. A side effect. I warned you our connection was dangerous. He stared at her, floating closer. So this is some kind of shared mind space? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, my species calls it the merge. It happens only between bonded beings. Normally it's forbidden between different species. Ryan's heart pounded. And if it happens? Lyra looked away. One of them dies. Sometimes, both. Silence filled the glowing void. Ryan looked around, watching small fragments of memory drift by. His childhood, his time as a soldier, his sister's face, laughter. They floated like fragile bubbles before fading. You're seeing pieces of yourself, Lyra said quietly. The merge is showing me who you are. I can feel your thoughts, Ryan crossed his arms. That's comforting, Lyra's face softened. You think I'm a threat. You fell out of the sky, glowed like a bomb, and said the universe wants you dead, he said. Forgive me for being cautious. For the first time, Lyra smiled genuinely. Your fear is honest. I like that. The space around them pulsed, and suddenly they were standing, not floating, on a surface that looked like black glass reflecting stars above and below. Lyra's form flickered, more solid now. She touched her chest as if in pain. My body in the real world is unstable, she whispered. The hunter's weapons broke the containment field in my heart core. The bond we made is the only thing keeping me alive. Ryan took a step closer. Then what do we do? Lyra looked at him with eyes full of light and sadness. We must complete the bond. Ryan blinked. Complete it? How? Her voice trembled. Through connection. Emotional, physical, spiritual. The merge will stabilize both of us or destroy us if left incomplete. Ryan's throat felt dry. You mean? Yes, she interrupted softly. That's what I meant in the cave. Make love to me, human. It's not about desire. It's about survival. My kind exchange energy through closeness. Ryan stared at her, torn between disbelief and awe. You're saying if we don't, we die? Lyra nodded slowly. In hours. Maybe less. He rubbed the back of his neck, trying to stay calm. Well, that's a first. Saving an alien's life through emotional connection. Lyra tilted her head. You joke to hide your fear. Maybe, he admitted. But I've faced worse odds. She stepped closer, her presence warm despite the unreal light. You don't understand the risk. My energy could burn through your body. It could erase you completely. Ryan met her gaze. Then I'll burn. For a moment, neither spoke. The stars above flickered like candlelight. Then Lyra raised her hand and touched his face. Her fingers glowed faintly, and warmth spread through him. Not pain, not fire, but something deeper. You humans, she whispered, always choosing death over caution. Maybe that's what makes us human, he said quietly. The light between them brightened until their forms became outlines of pure energy. Ryan felt her thoughts like whispers in his mind. Her memories, her loneliness, her fear of dying alone in a cold galaxy. He saw flashes of her home world, a place of endless oceans where her people floated in light instead of water. Lyra's voice echoed inside his head. You see me now. You know what I've lost. Then let's make sure you don't lose more, he thought back, surprising himself. Their energy merged fully, and for a brief, impossible moment, Ryan felt everything. The pulse of her heart inside his chest, the shimmer of alien stars, the music of her people's souls. Then with a sudden jolt, everything went black. Ryan gasped and woke up. He was back in the cave, sand on his face, the world still burning outside. Lyra lay beside him, glowing faintly but breathing steadily. "You did it," she whispered weakly. "The bond is stable. For now." Ryan sat up, dizzy. "For now? What happens next?" Lyra opened her eyes, sadness returning. "The hunters won't stop. And now that we're connected, they'll sense you too." He glanced toward the cave entrance where lights flickered across the desert sky. "Then we move together." Lyra's lips trembled. "Ryan, if they capture me, they'll destroy you as well. The law doesn't forgive forbidden bonds." Ryan smiled faintly, reaching out a hand. "Then let's make them regret writing that law." Lyra hesitated, then took his hand. Their fingers glowed where they touched, the bond pulsing like a heartbeat. Outside, the night wind howled, carrying the sound of the approaching hunters. But inside the cave, two beings from different worlds stood side by side, united not by law or logic, but by something the universe had never planned. Something human. The desert was no longer quiet. The night sky burned red as the hunters' ships cut through the clouds like blades of fire. Ryan and Lyra ran across the dunes, their footsteps leaving faint trails of light where her energy touched the sand. "Keep moving," Ryan shouted, gripping her hand tightly. Lyra stumbled, her glow flickering. "They're tracking our energy. Every pulse of my heart tells them where we are." "Then we'll stop your heart from being so easy to find," Ryan said, half joking but desperate. He scanned the horizon. The dunes stretched endlessly, but ahead, jagged black stones rose from the ground like teeth. Shelter. They reached the stone field just as a beam of white plasma ripped through the air behind them, turning sand into molten glass. The explosion threw Ryan forward and he rolled, pulling Lyra with him. The heat burned his back, but he didn't stop. Inside the rocks, they found a narrow crevice barely big enough for two. They pressed close together, breathing heavily as the sound of hunter drones passed overhead. Ryan's heart pounded so loudly he was sure they'd hear it. Lyra's hand rested against his chest. "You're burning up," she whispered. "I'm fine," he said. "You?" She shook her head, her silver hair falling across her glowing eyes. "The bond is unstable. The merge we began, it's fading. I can feel the energy tearing inside me." Ryan looked at her, concern in his eyes. "What do I do?" Lyra hesitated, her voice trembling. "You can't do anything now. We must reach the ancient tower before sunrise. It's the only place where I can repair the bond safely." "Where is it?" She pointed toward the eastern horizon, where twin suns were beginning to rise, a faint orange glow spreading across the sand. "Beyond those suns. But we won't make it if they find us." Ryan exhaled, thinking fast. "Then we don't let them find us." He peered from the rocks. The hunter ships were circling, scanning the terrain with cold, perfect precision. They were machines, merciless, patient. He looked at Lyra. "You said they follow your energy signature. Can you change it?" "Not alone," she said. "But with your help." "Maybe," he frowned. "How?" Lyra closed her eyes, her voice soft. "When we bonded, our energies intertwined. If you think of calm, of stillness, I can borrow that pattern to cloak us. But if your mind is chaos..." Ryan smirked. "You haven't met my mind yet." She placed her hand on his temple. "Then let me see it." Instantly, Ryan's vision blurred. He wasn't in the cave anymore. He was standing in a memory. His own. The sound of war, explosions, screams, a battlefield. He saw himself dragging a wounded soldier to safety, his heart heavy with guilt and rage. Lyra's voice echoed inside his mind. "So much pain, so much noise. Yeah, welcome to humanity," he replied silently. She appeared beside him, looking at the chaos around them. "You carry this with you always. This is why your energy burns like fire. I can use it. But it will hurt you." "Do it," Ryan said. The world shattered again. Back in reality, Lyra's hands pressed against his chest, glowing brighter than ever. Ryan gritted his teeth as pain surged through him, like electricity and ice all at once. The ground beneath them hummed, then went still. Lyra opened her eyes slowly. "It worked. Our energy is hidden for now." Ryan slumped against the rock, sweat on his forehead. "Remind me never to do that again." But Lyra wasn't listening. She was staring at the rising suns, her face full of sorrow. "We have 6 hours before the bond collapses again." He followed her gaze. The twin suns painted the desert gold and red. "It was beautiful and deadly. Then we'd better start walking." They moved together across the dunes. The suns grew hotter, burning the horizon, and Ryan could feel his skin stinging. Lyra walked beside him, her steps light, her expression distant. After a while, Ryan broke the silence. "Why are they after you, Lyra?" "What did you do?" She hesitated, her voice low. "I was created, not born. My kind, the Elysians, were designed to heal dying worlds, but we discovered something forbidden." "What?" She looked at him, her eyes shimmering with sadness. "Love, emotion. We were not meant to feel it. The galactic law forbids it because emotion disrupts perfect logic. But I felt something, for one of them. A human explorer years ago." Ryan's steps slowed. "You've met humans before?" "Yes," she whispered. "And I watched him die because of me. They erased every record of his existence. And now, because I felt again, because I bonded with you, they will erase you too." Ryan looked at her quietly. "Then let them come." Lyra stared at him in disbelief. "You'd defy an entire galaxy for something that shouldn't exist?" Ryan smiled faintly. "Love's been breaking rules since the beginning of time." She stopped walking, looking at him as if seeing him for the first time. "You don't realize it, do you? Our bond is changing you. Your cells are starting to shift." He frowned. "Shift?" She stepped closer and touched his arm. Under his skin, faint blue light glowed. Ryan stared, stunned. "What the hell?" Lyra whispered, trembling. "You're becoming part of me." Before he could respond, the ground shook violently. A massive shadow fell across the dunes. Above them, a colossal hunter ship descended, black as night with symbols glowing red across its hull. Lyra's eyes widened in horror. "That's not a patrol. That's a reclaimer. They've sent the execution unit." Ryan's hand tightened around his weapon. "Then it's a good thing we're already outlaws." The ship's cannons began to charge, glowing bright as the twin suns. Lyra grabbed Ryan's hand. "Run!" They sprinted toward the shimmering horizon, the sand exploding behind them with every blast. And as the world burned again, Ryan realized something terrifying. He wasn't running with an alien anymore. He was running as one. The desert burned like a furnace beneath the twin suns. Waves of heat shimmered across the endless dunes as Ryan and Lyra stumbled onward, their shadows long and sharp against the glowing sand. Behind them, the massive reclaimer ship loomed on the horizon, its engines screaming like a dying god. Ryan's body felt strange, hot, heavy, yet weightless at times. Blue veins of light pulsed under his skin, glowing brighter with each heartbeat. Every few minutes, his vision flickered between human sight and something alien, energy trails in the air. The faint hum of life around him, even the pulse of the reclaimer's engines miles away. Lyra glanced back, panting softly. "They're closing in faster than I expected," she said. Her voice trembled, not from fear but exhaustion. Ryan steadied her. "You said there's a tower. Where is it?" Lyra pointed to the horizon where a faint spire of silver light pierced the sky. It looked impossibly tall, thin as a needle yet glowing with power. "There, the Tower of Forgotten Stars. It's a relic from before the galactic law. My kind used it to hide our forbidden memories." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "And you think this place can fix our bond?" Lyra nodded weakly. "If we reach the top before the suns align. When the twin suns meet, their gravity tears open a rift. The tower channels that energy. It can stabilize us. Or end us both," Ryan smirked. "Always loved the 50-50 odds." They kept walking, the heat pressing down on them like a living thing. Lyra's glow faded to a faint shimmer. Ryan could feel her energy inside him. Weak, flickering, but still there. Every time she stumbled, his pulse quickened as if her pain echoed through his veins. By noon, they reached the base of the tower. It was made of a strange silver stone that vibrated softly when touched. Symbols ran along its surface, alive with shifting light. Ryan traced one with his hand. It pulsed in response, recognizing something in his energy. Lyra's eyes widened. "It accepted you," he frowned. "What does that mean?" She hesitated. "Only Elysians can open the tower." Ryan looked at his glowing arm, realization dawning. Maybe I'm not just human anymore. Before she could answer, the ground trembled. The reclaimer ship was descending, its massive form blocking out the suns. A deep voice thundered from above, metallic, cold, and merciless. "Illegal merge detected. Surrender subjects for immediate termination." Lyra's face went pale. "They've activated purge mode." Ryan looked at her, determination hardening his expression. Then we climb. He pressed his palm to the tower. The surface split open, forming a spiraling staircase made of light. Without hesitation, he grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her inside. The entrance sealed behind them with a low hum just as a plasma blast hit the outer wall. Inside, the air felt weightless. The stairs twisted upward endlessly, surrounded by floating orbs of light that flickered with memories. Faces, worlds, moments frozen in time. "What is this place?" Ryan whispered. Lyra's voice was soft, almost reverent. "These are the memories of those who broke the law before me, the ones who dared to feel." As they climbed, one of the orbs floated close to Ryan. Inside, he saw a scene. An alien woman with wings of light holding a human soldier as fire rained around them. She whispered the same words Lyra had spoken. "Make love to me, human, or it will be too late." Ryan froze. "Lyra, this happened before." She stopped, her expression haunted. "Yes, that's why they call it the forbidden love cycle. Every few centuries, a human and an Elysian meet by fate, and every time it ends the same way. Death." Ryan clenched his fists. "Not this time." They reached the halfway point where the stairs ended at a large circular chamber. In the center floated a crystal core, pulsing with light. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes wide. "This is the heart of the tower. If I connect to it, I can rewrite the bond." Ryan frowned. "Rewriting sounds dangerous." "It is," she said. "If it fails, our energies will collapse into a singularity. We'll vanish together." He stepped closer. "Then we take the risk." "What do you need me to do?" Lyra looked at him, her expression softening. "Trust me, and no matter what happens, don't let go." Ryan reached out and took her hands. Their fingers interlocked, light flowing between them. Lyra closed her eyes and the crystal's glow grew blinding. Suddenly, the world shifted. The chamber dissolved into a storm of memories, hers and his merging again. Ryan saw her world, her people, perfect beings who erased emotion from their DNA. He saw the day she discovered love, and the day her creators declared her a threat. Lyra saw his memories too, the war, the pain, the loneliness he carried for years. Their voices echoed through the storm. "Why me?" Ryan asked. "Because you felt when others didn't," she whispered. "And I needed to remember what it meant to live." The tower trembled violently. Energy exploded outward, shaking the walls. The reclaimer ship outside fired again, its beam cutting through the upper levels. Lyra screamed, clutching Ryan's face. "It's breaking." "The energy is too strong." Ryan pulled her close. "Then we do it together!" Their bodies glowed brighter, merging into one beam of light that shot upward through the tower. The blast struck the sky, splitting the clouds apart. The reclaimers' attack collided with their energy, and instead of destruction, a shockwave of blue light rippled across the desert. Outside, the reclaimers' systems flickered and shut down. The giant ship fell silent, frozen mid-air. Inside the tower, Ryan and Lyra floated in the aftermath, exhausted but alive. Her head rested against his chest, and for the first time, her glow was steady. "It worked," she whispered weakly. "We're one heartbeat now." Ryan smiled faintly, his hand brushing her hair. "Then we just changed the rules." But as he looked up, he saw the top of the tower still pulsing, a single beam of light shooting into the stars. And deep in that light, something was watching. Something older than the law itself, and it was waking. The tower no longer hummed, it breathed. A deep, low pulse rolled through the air like the heartbeat of something vast and alive. The walls, once silver, now glowed with streams of blue light that moved like veins. Ryan stood still, staring upward as a blinding column of energy poured through the center of the chamber, stretching far beyond sight. Lyra stirred in his arms. Her body was warm, her eyes half open but calm. "The tower responded," she whispered weakly. "But it wasn't supposed to." "Speak, speak," Ryan echoed. "What do you mean, speak?" Before Lyra could answer, the air around them rippled. A voice, ancient, echoing from every direction, filled the chamber. It wasn't just sound. It was thought, emotion, memory all at once. "You have broken the seal," the voice said, deep and resonant. "You carry the forbidden bond. Who are you to awaken me?" Ryan instinctively raised his weapon, though he knew it was useless. "I could ask you the same thing." Lyra pulled herself upright, trembling. "It's the first star," she whispered. "The consciousness that created my people. It's been asleep for millennia. The light swirled around them, forming a shape. An enormous face made of pure energy, eyes like burning suns. "You defied my design, Lyra of Elysium," it said. "You were made to heal worlds, not to love them." Lyra's voice broke. "You abandoned us. You left us bound by cold logic while you slept. I only wanted to feel, to understand what life really means. And for that," the voice thundered, "you doomed yourself. You merged with a human, a being of chaos driven by war and hunger. Do you understand what you've done?" Ryan stepped forward, his voice steady. "Yeah, we saved each other." The vast energy form turned toward him. The temperature dropped and Ryan's breath came out in mist. "Human," it said slowly. "You are infected. The merge has already begun to rewrite your essence. You are no longer one of them." Ryan's skin glowed faintly blue under the light. He looked at his hands, veins pulsing with alien energy. "I've noticed. You should not exist," the voice declared. "You are a paradox, an emotion bound to infinity. If you remain, you will unmake both species." Lyra reached out desperately. "Please, he's not a threat. He's proof that emotion can save life, not destroy it." The tower rumbled as if the voice was thinking. Then it spoke again, calmer this time. "Very well. If you wish to prove that claim, the trial of harmony must be completed. Survive it, and the bond shall be recognized. Fail, and both will be erased." Ryan's jaw tightened. "You're not giving us much choice." "Choice," the first star murmured, "is what makes you human. Let us see if it can endure truth." The chamber floor split apart beneath them. Ryan and Lyra fell into blinding light. When Ryan opened his eyes, he was standing in a city, Earth but broken. Towers lay shattered, streets burned, and the sky was a storm of ash. Lyra stood beside him, her body shimmering like glass. "This isn't real," she whispered. "It's the trial. It's showing us our fears." Ryan looked around, heart pounding. "Feels real enough." A sound echoed through the ruins. Gunfire, screams, the smell of burning metal. From the smoke, figures appeared, soldiers, his soldiers. But their faces were gone, empty shadows wearing his old armor. Lyra gasped. "Ryan, what are they?" He recognized them. "They're my past." The shadows raised their weapons, shouting in distorted voices, "You left us. You let us die." Ryan's chest tightened. "No, that's not—" Lyra grabbed his arm. "They're feeding on your guilt. Don't let it consume you." But the ground shook and the shadows opened fire. Ryan ducked behind a wrecked vehicle, adrenaline surging. He returned fire, though his shots passed through them like smoke. "Ryan," Lyra shouted, "you can't fight them with weapons. You have to accept them." He looked at her, eyes burning. "Accept what?" "Your pain." The shadows kept advancing, voices echoing, accusing. Ryan dropped his weapon, trembling. "I tried to save them," he whispered. "I did everything I could." The shadows paused. The fire dimmed. Slowly they lowered their weapons and faded into light. Lyra touched his shoulder, smiling faintly. "You did it. You faced your truth." Ryan exhaled shakily. "Now what?" The world around them dissolved again. This time they stood in an endless sea of light. Lyra looked around nervously. "This must be my trial." The sea shimmered, and suddenly thousands of Elysians appeared, their glowing forms circling her. A voice echoed from them all. "You betrayed perfection for love. Justify yourself." Lyra stood tall, though her light flickered. "Perfection without feeling is nothing. I would rather live one real moment of love than 1,000 years of emptiness." The Elysians' lights flared, then dimmed. The sea went still. The first star's voice returned, quieter now, almost human. "You have endured the truth of pain and love. Your bond stands unbroken. But know this, every universe that witnesses it will change. Some will worship you. Others will hunt you." Ryan reached for Lyra's hand. "Then let them come." The tower reformed around them, the light fading back into silver walls. Lyra leaned against him, exhausted but glowing with new strength. "The trial accepted us," she whispered. "We're free." Ryan looked up at the sky through the broken roof. Stars shimmered above. Only now one of them pulsed brighter than the rest, like a living heartbeat. "Free," he repeated softly, or watched. Because deep in the cosmos, the first star's voice still lingered. Soft, hidden, curious. Love. Or extinction. Let us see which one wins. The suns had set behind the dunes when the tower finally fell silent. Dust drifted through the air like the slow breath of a dying god. Ryan stood at the tower's edge, staring at the endless horizon. His skin glowed faintly blue under the moonlight, veins pulsing with energy that wasn't entirely human anymore. Behind him, Lyra rested against a broken pillar, her silver hair shimmering in the faint light. She watched him quietly, her eyes full of both awe and fear. "You feel it too, don't you?" she said softly. Ryan didn't turn around. "Yeah, it's getting stronger." He flexed his hands. Sparks of blue light danced between his fingers, flickering like tiny stars. He didn't need food or water or even rest anymore. His heart beat slower, but every pulse carried enough energy to light a city. Lyra walked closer, her expression torn. "The bond is evolving. Your body is adapting to mine, but too quickly. You're crossing the boundary." Ryan looked at her. "Between human and alien?" "No," she said, voice trembling. "Between mortal and eternal," he gave a half smile. "Sounds like an upgrade." Lyra shook her head. "It's not. No human has ever survived this long after merging." "You should be dead?" Ryan interrupted gently. "Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot lately." Before she could reply, the ground rumbled beneath them. A streak of light tore across the sky, followed by 3 more. Lyra's eyes widened in alarm. "They found us again," she whispered. "But not hunters. These are enforcers. The law itself." Ryan frowned. "The law?" Lyra nodded grimly. "Machines built from the essence of the first star. They don't just kill, they rewrite reality. If they touch us, our bond will be erased from existence." Ryan turned toward the approaching lights. "Then we don't let them touch us." Lyra stepped forward, glowing brighter. "You can't fight them, Ryan, not as you are." Lyra stepped forward, glowing brighter. "You can't fight them, Ryan, not as you are." He clenched his fists, energy humming under his skin. "Maybe not as I was." A sudden flash of light exploded above them and the sky tore open. 3 enormous beings descended, silhouettes of blinding light, neither machine nor spirit, their voices echoing like thunder. "Illegal fusion detected, universal balance threatened. Subjects will be purged." Ryan raised his weapon, but the air around it vibrated and the rifle disintegrated in his hands, turning into dust. Lyra screamed, clutching his arm. "They're rewriting matter. Ryan, we have to go." He looked at her, eyes glowing brighter now, his voice deeper, almost inhuman. "No, I can feel them. Their energy. I can fight it." Before Lyra could stop him, he stepped forward. The sand rose around him, drawn into a swirling storm of blue light. The enforcers aimed their radiant spears and fired, but the beams bent in midair, curving around Ryan like ripples in water. Lyra stared in disbelief. "You're controlling the laws of energy." Ryan's voice echoed with strange resonance. "Maybe love rewrites the universe after all." He raised his hand and the desert trembled. Blue arcs of light shot toward the enforcers, striking them with impossible force. The sky cracked like glass and the beings screamed, not in pain but in confusion. Impossible. Human energy is pure? Ryan pushed harder, his power flaring like a star. "You wanted balance? Here it is." The explosion shook the world. The enforcers shattered into shards of light that scattered into the sky like dying meteors. The storm faded, leaving only silence and the faint hum of Ryan's heartbeat. Lyra ran to him, her eyes wide. "Ryan, you could have destroyed yourself." He turned slowly, his expression distant. His eyes were no longer just blue. They held galaxies inside them. "Maybe I did." She touched his face gently. "You're changing faster. Your body's not meant for this." He smiled faintly. "Then I'll adapt." Lyra shook her head, tears forming. "You don't understand. Every second you're becoming less human. Soon you'll forget what you are. You'll forget me." Ryan looked down, the wind brushing against his glowing skin. "I could never forget you." But even as he said it, a flicker passed through his mind, an empty white space where a memory used to be. His sister's face, once clear, now faded like smoke. He tried to grab the thought, but it slipped away. Lyra saw his expression and stepped closer. "It's already starting, isn't it?" Ryan didn't answer. She pressed her forehead to his. "Listen to me. We can stop it. If we reach the eternal archive, we can separate your energy before it consumes your mind." He looked into her eyes. "And if we fail? Then you'll become something no human or Elysian has ever been." He chuckled softly. "Sounds like a promotion." Lyra smiled sadly. "No, it sounds like goodbye." Before Ryan could respond, a blinding flare erupted in the sky. The voice of the first star returned, louder than before. "The human has touched infinity. The chain of cause and law is broken. All creation trembles. Choose, Lyra, preserve love, or preserve existence. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. No, there must be another way. There is none, the voice thundered. If he continues, he will collapse every bond in the cosmos. If he stops, he dies. Ryan reached for her hand. Then I choose neither. I'll find a third way. Lyra looked at him helplessly. There isn't. Then we'll make one. The ground cracked beneath them as Ryan's energy flared brighter than ever, lighting the desert for miles. Lyra shielded her eyes, calling his name, but his voice was already fading into the hum of the stars. And as the light swallowed them both, the universe itself seemed to hesitate, caught between love and annihilation. Somewhere in that silence, the first star whispered, "The human no longer belongs to time." Silence. Not the silence of peace, but the silence that comes when time itself forgets how to move. Ryan floated in a vast emptiness, surrounded by broken fragments of stars, torn worlds, and threads of light stretching endlessly in all directions. He no longer felt the weight of his body. He was the light, the pulse, the vibration, the rhythm of everything that once was. But deep within the ocean of eternity, one sound remained. A heartbeat, his, Ryan. Her voice, soft, trembling, full of life, pulled him back from the edge of infinity. Lyra's form appeared before him, fragile and glowing, like the last spark of a dying universe. She reached out, her fingers brushing against his light. "You came back," she whispered. Ryan's voice was different now, deeper, slower, as if space itself spoke through him. "I never left, I just became something else." Lyra's eyes shimmered with tears. "You're not human anymore." He looked down at his hands, no flesh, no bone, only radiant streams of blue energy swirling into shape. "Maybe not, but I remember what being human felt like." She stepped closer, her voice cracking. "If you stay like this, the universe will unravel. The bond between us, it's too strong." "The first star warned us." Ryan smiled faintly. "The first star is afraid. Not of me, but of what we proved." A deep vibration rippled through the void. The first star's voice boomed, surrounding them. "You misunderstand creation of chaos. You have torn the law that binds galaxies. Love cannot exist in infinity. It consumes order. Choose now. Remain human and die, or ascend and erase her." Lyra's face turned pale. "Ryan, don't listen. There has to be another way." Ryan's gaze met hers, soft but steady. "Every choice I've ever made led me here. I can't go back." She gripped his glowing hand, desperation in her eyes. "Then let me go. If you release me, the universe will heal. You'll live. They'll all live." Ryan shook his head slowly. "I'd rather end everything than live in a universe without you." Lyra's tears turned to shimmering light. "Then you'll destroy all that you saved." He reached out and placed his glowing hand over her heart. "Maybe creation needs to begin again with love instead of fear." The void around them shifted. The stars that had once been shattered began to spin, slowly forming a spiral of light. Lyra looked around, astonished. "Ryan, what are you doing?" "I'm rewriting the code," he said, his voice echoing through the cosmos. "If the law was written to erase love, then it's time for a new law." The first star roared in fury. "You cannot rewrite what was forged from eternity." Ryan smiled faintly. "Watch me," the void trembled. Energy exploded outward in waves of gold and blue, bending light, bending time. Lyra tried to step back, but he caught her hand and pulled her close. "Do you trust me?" he whispered. She nodded through her tears. "Always." Their bodies merged in a blinding flash. Two forms, one of light, one of emotion, fused into a single pulse of radiant fire. The universe screamed as the energy surged beyond any limit known to creation. In that moment, Ryan saw everything. The birth of galaxies, the fall of civilizations, the loneliness of the stars. And within it all, the quiet heartbeat of love, the only thing that ever truly defied time. Lyra's voice echoed inside his mind. "Ryan, it's too much. You'll burn yourself away." "Then I'll burn for something real," he replied softly. The first star's voice grew distant, fading under the roar of creation. "You will destroy yourself, human," Ryan's voice answered, calm, gentle, certain. Maybe that's what being human means. Light filled everything. For a heartbeat, there was no up or down, no before or after, just a feeling. Warmth, connection, the endless beauty of one soul reaching for another. And then, silence again. When Lyra opened her eyes, She was standing in a field of soft golden grass under a sky of two suns. Birds, real birds, flew across the horizon. The air was alive again. The world had been reborn. She touched her chest. Her heart beat strong, but she was alone. "Ryan?" she whispered. No answer, only the wind. She knelt, tears falling silently into the earth. But then the grass shimmered where her tears touched and the ground pulsed faintly beneath her palm. A voice whispered, not from the sky, not from far away, but from within. "Lyra." "I'm still here," she gasped, looking around. "Ryan, where?" "Everywhere," the voice said gently. "The stars, the air, the light. I didn't die. I became the pulse of creation." Her tears turned to laughter, trembling and full of wonder. "You did it. You rewrote the law." "No," Ryan's voice whispered softly. "We did." She smiled through her tears. "What now?" "Now," he said, his voice fading into the wind. "You live, for both of us. Tell them what love really means." Lyra closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of the suns on her face. For the first time, she felt peace, not perfect, not eternal, but real. As the light of dawn washed over her, the stars above flickered once, then pulsed in rhythm, like the echo of a single heartbeat that refused to die. The last human heartbeat, the first of a new universe. And somewhere in the endless light, a familiar voice whispered one final time, soft, human, eternal.